Welcome back to episode number 3 of the sub 3-hour marathon project. If you haven't seen episodes 1 or 2, I'd highly encourage you to go back and watch those. But now we're starting week number 4 at the time of this recording, and we're going to talk about week number 3, everything I went through, all the runs that I did, and a special project that I did this weekend. So diving straight into the first run of the week, I had 8 miles at an easy pace on Monday. It was kind of chilly, but it wasn't too bad, and especially because the sun was about to set, my motivation was a little bit lower, but it wasn't too bad. About 1.5 miles in, I decided I was going to run probably one of the hardest routes that I could make up in my town, which wasn't great, but the important thing is that I got this run finished. I got out, got the job done, and felt great afterward. Now jumping into Tuesday, this was planned to be a track workout day with a total volume of 9 miles. This was supposed to be scheduled for Tuesday, but I switched the Wednesday easy run with the track workout and moved it to Wednesday. This easy run, about 1.5 miles in, I started to feel pretty weak. I feel like trash. Like my muscles are fine, but I feel like I have no energy. I feel like my blood sugar is really low. I think I'm gonna cap it at like 4. And this has happened to me a ton of times before, and I think it's just because I had waited too long between when I had eaten something and when I tried to go out on a run. And maybe it could have been that I didn't eat enough the day before, or I didn't fuel properly, or drink enough electrolytes, or maybe some weird anomaly. I'm not really sure. This became an unplanned double day. I did 4 miles in the early afternoon and then 4 miles in the evening. I went home after that run and I ate just a bunch, and around 6 p.m. I went out for a second run to get my total mileage to 8 miles for the day. Welcome to round number 2. I ate a lot of food and waited about 4 hours, and now I feel so much better. Wrapping up mile 2 of 4 for this unplanned double day, and I let myself in the better setup talk about doubles and how you can incorporate them into your training. So back to me in the future, I guess. That's actually a really easy and good way to increase your mileage without having to increase the amount of time you're spending in one stint. If you don't have enough time to do 9, 10, 11 miles in one stint every single day during the training week because you have to work, you have other commitments, you can do 4 and 6 if you're doing 10 miles, 4 and 6, or 5 and 5, or 6 and 4. And it's also a great way to help your body understand what running on tired legs feels like. Because if you do a hard stint in the beginning of the day, say you do a track workout that's 6, 7 miles in volume, and then you go out for another 4, 5, 6 miles in the evening time and make those easy, of course your legs are going to be tired, your body's going to be tired, and that's just a good way to help you understand what that feels like when it comes to mile 20, 22, 23 during a marathon and your legs do want to give up and you're going to have tired legs. Welcome to the first of many Wednesday workout track sessions in this sub 3-hour marathon project. Just finished up the 2.15 mile warm-up, and now it's time to move into the actual workout. And what that's going to consist of is 3 1,000 meters repeats and then 4 800-meter repeats. After the 1,000 meter repeats, I'm going to have 2 minutes of like a rest recovery, and then after the 800s, it's going to be about 1:30. The reason I want to do that amount of time for rest is because I want to have about a 2-to-1 work to rest ratio. So with the paces that I'm going to be running those intervals at, between 6:35 and 6:40 minutes per mile, half of what those interval times would be is about 2 minutes and 1 minute and 30. I hope that made sense. I'm running these paces because I want to run about 30 to 40 seconds faster than what I want my marathon pace to actually be. So if you want to run fast, you have to run fast. So on to the workout. Thank you, Past Me, for explaining that track workout. I was on a time limit because I was going to meet her for lunch at 2, and I had started my track workout at around 12, I think, and it was going to take about an hour and a half with the warm up and cool down. So I wasn't able to get the 1.4 mile cool down miles in after the track workout, just skip those, and I was going to go out later to do that really quickly. But after I met Amanda and came back home, my dad said that he wanted to go out to the nature center because it was a really nice day and hit some trails. So I couldn't say no to that. So we ended up hitting 4.5 miles of trails. So in total, I ended up doing just over 12 miles for the day, which isn't terrible, but I don't want to make that a habit of going super long on weekdays because I want to make sure I'm recovered and able to keep making the consistent progress instead of put myself out of the game for 3, 4, 5 days. This is really weird. Only having 3 to 4 miles on the schedule. Originally I was supposed to have 7. Feeling pretty good though. Taking this one super easy. But the body is recovering well so far. Next week I'll almost be in the 60 mile a week territory, which is crazy. Haven't been there for a while. I'm just happy right now. Feeling good. Running's feeling really good. Jumping into Friday, this is where things started to get weird with my schedule, and I had to move things around and had to try and do my long run on Friday instead of Saturday. Now, the reason I had to move things around was because I was gonna go film my buddy Heath Gosshorn run 100 miles at the Rabid Raccoon 100 miler put on by Wolf Creek Race Management out in Beaver, Pennsylvania. So the plan was to move my 15-mile long run to Friday morning and then go film him at Packet Pickup, film him doing a pre-race interview and laying out his kit and talking about nutrition. And then the next day, obviously, I'd be chasing him around all day, filming him while he's doing his race. I got called into work. By the time that was over, I only had about an hour and a half or 2 hours before I had to leave to go to the Packet Pickup for Heath. Just finished up my Friday run. It was 9 miles. I didn't take the GoPro on the run, obviously, because I just wanted to get it done. So what I ended up doing is a marathon pace workout. And I was kind of weary about this because 2 days before I had done a track workout, and I want to try to have 2 or 3 days in between when I do a track workout and then I do my long run with marathon pace miles, just so that I get enough recovery. I ended up doing 9 miles, which was 2 miles warm up, 2 miles on at marathon pace, 1 mile off, 2 miles on at marathon pace, 1 mile off, and then 1 mile on at marathon pace. From Friday to Friday, I'd actually run 60 miles instead of 50 or 55 or whatever I was scheduled to do for that week. So for a 7-day period, I had actually done 60 miles. And because I did 60 miles, I think a rest day was probably in order, especially because I was only supposed to do 53 miles with the 10% increase from the last week. Saturday was a lot of work, man. I'm just gonna be real. I think I got to bed at 11:30 on Friday. We had to wake up at 2:30 in the morning on Saturday because we had a 30-minute drive to the race. The race started at 4 a.m. Once the race started, I was filming pretty much all day. And it wasn't filming all day. It was a lot of waiting around until Heath got to an aid station. Then I would film him and then film him going out. and then I'd pick him off at certain points and run behind him or in front of him for just a little bit. So essentially I filmed from 3 a.m., him getting ready, his stuff on, whatever, to 10:15 p.m.
The undisputed champion of the Robert Redford 100-mile mania! Keith Goddard! Ladies and gentlemen, your champion!
It took him just over 18 hours to run the race, and he ended up getting in first, which was awesome. That's what he set out to do. But I was awake for almost 24 hours, which, of course, I'm not going to run on a day when I'm going to be filming all day. When I checked my watch, it said that I had taken like 30,500 steps, which was 16 miles. I don't know how accurate that is because I'm not sure what metric it measures it off of. That really wasn't a rest day. It had gone from like 32 degrees to 56 or 60 degrees. So at one point I was profusely sweating and I didn't really have too many electrolytes. I had run out and I was going off of Walmart electrolytes and 5 Cliff Bars, an Athletic Brew, some McDonald's cheeseburgers and McChicken. So like my nutrition that day was just terrible and almost non-existent. But I did stay hydrated as well as I could. I think I drank 1.5 gallons of water and then 2 of those shaker bottles worth of electrolytes with the water. So that's how Saturday went. I didn't run at all. Sunday, I woke up after maybe 7 hours of sleep, which after almost 24 hours straight of being up and doing a really physically intensive job, I don't think 7 hours was enough. But we woke up around 9. From about 10 to 11:30, I had set up and filmed the post-race interview with Heath, which went really well, and I love the way it looked, by the way. And right after that, I had to book it all the way back home, 1.5 hours to the gym, where I was scheduled to work 1 to 4. I really hadn't eaten anything, so Saturday and Sunday I didn't run at all. I did a lot of physical activity on Saturday and no physical activity on Sunday, and that ended up the week with 41-ish miles. Now, like I said, I had done 60 miles from that last Friday to the Friday of this weekend, and so I'm not really worried about where that puts me in terms of progress, and I think as long as I get right back into training, I'll be fine, because we're still 9 weeks out from the marathon. Now, I want to close out this episode with talking about priorities and how sometimes training has to take a back seat for a day or two, because sometimes life happens and sometimes you have to prioritize relationships, your family, your career. And even though training is a priority and it's important, you can take a day off. You can take 2 days off and not really worry about losing progress. And it's important to realize that sometimes you have to take that day off to make progress in another part of your life. And for me right now, that's making progress in my business and making progress as a cinematographer in my career. And one thing that I really want to start doing is filming running documentaries and getting into that space. And this weekend is a prime example of that. And given the nature of 100-mile ultras, where they take all day, anywhere from 18 hours, like in Heath's situation, or 27 hours, like in my buddy Brenton's situation in 2022 at Burning River. It takes all day, and it takes a lot of energy, not just to film, but to make sure they're on pace, make sure their needs are accounted for before any of the external filming stuff is thought of. And so it's a lot of energy expended. And again, I just want to make sure that I'm doing as good as I can to progress in my career. And so running had to kind of take a back seat this weekend. because I was doing another running related thing and supporting my buddy in his race, as well as trying to expand my skills and capabilities and my career. So if you're in a situation like that where something comes up and you got to take a day or two off of training because it's an emergency, or you really just need to spend time with somebody, whether it's your wife or kids, or there's something important in your career, you have like a day business trip where it doesn't make sense to get up at 4 a.m. and do your run if it's 10 miles or whatever, and you might miss your flight. Like it's okay to take a day or two off unplanned. You're not going to lose fitness that fast as long as you get back to your training and stay consistent with it. So that's going to be the end of episode 3. If you want to follow along on this sub 3-hour marathon journey, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Follow me here on YouTube by subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you don't miss any future episodes. And I haven't asked this yet, but if you want to, go ahead and follow me on Strava. It's just my name. You can see all my workouts, all my analytics and all that stuff if you really care about that. And that's going to be it for this one. I hope to see you in episode number 4. But for now, I'll see you.